In this picture, as you can see, KTH has 5 campuses in and around Stockholm. The main campus is located in central Stockholm, next to the Royal National Park. And on the main campus, you'll find KTH Library, Student Union Building Nimble, and KTH Entree. KTH Entree is the main point of contact. The keys and the contract for housing from KTH Accommodation is collected there on arrival and KTH. My classes are usually located at the Kista campus, but I also took a few courses which were offered in main campus during my first year of studies. I personally like to study in the D and the E buildings of the main campus, which are the ones that surround the courtyard. But other than that, I like to spend my time in KTH library as well. Yes?
Thank you, Shrishti. So we will firstly introduce you to KTH Accommodation Office and how we work. The office belongs to the University Administration of KTH. It is supported by state funding and it is a non-profit support. The service emerged based on the current housing situation in Stockholm, as it can be quite difficult to find a solution on one's own. The university saw a need to assist international students with finding a place to stay. KTH Accommodation offers a service, which is voluntary to the students, of subleasing rooms and apartments from student housing companies and building companies. There is a limited number of rooms and apartments, but some student group, as mentioned, are guaranteed to get a housing offer when they have complied with the application conditions. In the photo to the right, you see the KTH entrance building, which Shrishti also mentioned in the previous slide with a map. This is where key and contract is collected and where KTH accommodation is available for pre-booked appointments. Now we'll move on to who is guaranteed accommodation through KTH. All tuition fee paying students, including scholarship holders and students admitted to one of the joint master programs, are guaranteed to receive an offer of an accommodation through KTH for their first year of studies. The contracts are predetermined to an 11-month time period, August till June, and the maximum rental period is 1 academic year. In this section, we will go through the application process, receiving an offer, and information about rent and invoices. After this, we will move on to more intriguing parts, such as the housing locations, type of rooms, and what's included. So, the application is open between the 1st of May and the 31st of May. It does not matter when in May you apply. There is no first come, first serve rule. Please take your time and review the housing options and your preferences before applying, as you can apply only once. To be able to apply, you need to have received your letter of acceptance. That is the notification of selection results that you receive via the university admission, and you must have paid the tuition fee. If you're a joint master student, you need to have received a formal acceptance letter from KTH to your program and pay the tuition fee if you're obliged to do so. If you, as a joint master student, is accepted late and haven't received the acceptance letter by the 31st of May, please email us at accommodation@kth.se. The application is done through an online form found on our webpage from the 1st of May. You can go to New at KTH Accommodation to find the form after 1st of May. You will also receive an email with when the application form opens with a link to the webpage and instructions on how to use it. You do not need to send the acceptance letter to KTH Accommodation, and it is not necessary to have the residence permit ready before you apply. For more information about the residence permit, please visit the New at KTH website. You need to comply with the requirements for your application to be valid. In the application, there is some space for stating preferences for a requested type of housing. However, it is not guaranteed that your accommodation offer will be what you wished for, and it is not possible to change your housing offer with KTH Accommodation afterwards. If you choose a shared apartment as your preference and you wish to stay in the same apartment as a friend, then there is space for making such a request in the application. You can state one name only, and both of you need to write down each other's names in your respective applications. It is not always possible to meet the wishes of a specific flatmate, and some accommodations are more popular than others. Therefore, KTH Accommodation cannot guarantee that everyone will receive their first choice. So, Shrishti, how did you experience the application process?
So my experience with the application process was quite smooth. It was really easy to understand the application, and I could always reach out to KTH and the accommodation office via mail. I think I personally took some time to decide and arrange my preferences for housing, because as you mentioned, it's important to know which one is your first priority. For me, I think the price of the accommodation, where I stayed, and where my courses are offered was really important and the contributing factors for my preferences.
Thank you. And an important note, make sure to state more than one preferences in your application. You need to state at least 3 choices, or else you will be allocated to a randomly selected room if your first choice is not available. So please state 3 at least. Regarding receiving the offer, you make your application in May, and in June you will receive your housing offer with attached contract via email. In the email, you will receive information about the first invoice and when it's due. Please read the email carefully. You do not need to respond to the offer unless you wish to decline it. In that case, decline it with a reply as soon as possible. If you decide you do not want the housing offer and decline it, please note that you cannot apply a second time.
Yes, and I would also like to add to what Elma said. It is recommended to read the housing contract when you receive it. You should be well informed about the rental period, your obligations, and your rights as a tenant. I got my offer almost at the last week of June, and I got my first choice of accommodation. So it's really important you set your priorities well.
Thank you. And moving on to rent, the rent for housing is separate from the tuition fee. It is not included. The first rent is not a deposit, it covers your first rent. The rent is paid monthly in advance, and it is not possible to pay the full term in one payment. The easiest way to pay is via pay.kth.se. You will be recommended to use this pay method in the email with your offer and contract. Electricity, heat, and water is included in the rent. Internet is included in all locations except for Teknikringen, but for that area we will provide guidance on how to set you up on arrival. In what way did you make the payment, Shrishti?
Yes, so I used card payment as one of the modes to pay my fees. I think it was easy to do that, but I would suggest that you check the daily limit of your card that you would be using to pay before you start your payment procedure.
Thank you. So please note down the application period, the 1st of May till the 31st of May. The booking period is in June, and that is when we go through all applications. It is normal that offers are sent on different dates, and some will receive offers earlier than others. Please be patient. Everyone who is eligible will get their offer by the 1st of July. Here you can see an approximate map of our 4 housing areas. KTH Accommodation is located in and around Stockholm and has rent agreements with student housing companies and subleases rooms. We currently have around 880 apartments and in total about 1,100 beds. We have different types of rooms. There are corridor rooms, single 1-room apartment, shared 2-room apartments, shared 3 and 5-room apartments. The kitchenette usually contains an electric stovetop, a fridge, a small freezer shelf, a shelf, oven, and dish sink. Please note there is no KTH reception desk or other staff in the accommodation buildings. You can read more about each location on our KTH website if you go to locations on the accommodation page. Here is an example of the corridor rooms. The kitchen in a corridor is usually shared by 6 to 12 students, often with mixed nationalities. Depending on the number of students, there are 1 or 2 stoves, which are electric hot plates or stove tops. Every room has their own assigned cupboard in the kitchen for dry food and 1 shelf in each the fridge and the freezer. To maintain a comfortable and clean corridor living, just like a shared apartment, it is dependent on a shared responsibility and a communication. Shrishti, will you tell us a little bit about your experience of living in a corridor room?
Yes, I have really enjoyed my time in my corridor as I get my own space, my own room and my bathroom, and I share my kitchen space with other students. So that helps me interact with more students than I could imagine. There are a lot of students from KTH and also from other Stockholm universities who live in these corridor rooms. And I think it's a great way to know about others' cultures, parties together, and have dinners together.
Thank you. So here you see pictures of the interior and exterior of our apartments in Täby and Malvinasväg. These are for 1 person with a kitchenette and a bathroom in the apartments. We also have apartments for 2 or 3 people with your own bedroom. And in Täby, we even have 2 accommodations with 5 bedrooms. In these apartments, you find the kitchenette and bathroom in the apartment. It is most common with 1 person per bedroom. And the apartments require a shared responsibility as well. If one of the tenants in a shared apartment move out, the staying tenant can expect a new flatmate moving in. We try to inform about this, but it can sometimes happen with little or no notice as we book our accommodations continuously if we receive a cancellation. All types of housing has a basic set of furniture, including a bed, which is 90 times 200 centimeters, a basic foam mattress, table, and a chair. On arrival at KTH Entré, all new tenants will receive a new bed kit as a gift, consisting of a pillow and a duvet. Please note that linen, like sheets and towels, is not included, nor is kitchen utensils. But sometimes there may be items left by the previous tenant. Could you tell us what you brought with you from home to your new housing, Shrishti?
Yes, sure. So I brought my own linen along with my basic essentials like clothing and a small medical kit. But along with that, since I cook a lot of Indian vegetarian food, so I bought my own pressure cooker from home. And I also got its spare parts just in case if I would need them. But I would suggest that there are a lot of other places like Facebook Marketplace or IKEA shops where you can find kitchen cutlery and other bedding stuff.
Yes, and a few things to consider before you apply is if you can consider sharing an accommodation or if you wish to stay in a single one. Think about what option suits you. Sharing can be both fun and giving, especially when you are new to a city. And regarding the cost, the rent varies from around 4,600 SEK, which is Swedish kronas, to 7,500 SEK per month per person, depending on the area and type of housing. Exact and detailed information on prices for each location can be found on our website. Now we'll continue with a few slides hosted by Shrishti.
Thank you, Alma. So THS is the student union at KTH, which allows you to become a part of active student life at KTH. And also the student union membership allows you to get an accommodation with organization called Stockholm Student Housing Foundation or SSSB. This queue is external to KTH and you earn points for the days you have been registered. No Swedish civic registration number, that is the personal number, is necessary. You can register in the Stockholm Student Housing SSSB 90 days prior to the start of your term. After that, you need to become a member of THS to keep your points. You can use your points to apply for accommodation for your second year. Also remember that you need to pause your queue on or before 90 days, as the days get reset and you start from zero again. You can create your student membership with THS on arrival. And I would also like to mention that there are different types of transportation, like buses, metros, pendeltåg, boats, trains, and you get student discounts with SL. Normal computing time in Stockholm is for both students and workers is about 45 minutes.
Thank you.
Next. Yes. So this is student life at KTH from my perspective. I find it's really active and vibrant. There are a lot of activities that are organized throughout the week and over the weekend by THS. These could be hiking trips or cooking nights, board games or pub nights. During my free time, I really like to walk around the streets at Gamla and Kungstra Garden in central Stockholm. In this slide, the picture to the right is my first day here at KTH. That was on the arrival day. And on the left side is my Christmas celebration at my first year here in Stockholm and my Christmas celebration with my corridor mates. Next slide, please. Thank you. So staying in corridor room is really fun, I believe, as I mentioned before. I like to meet more students, and I also meet a lot of Swedish local students in corridor rooms. Also, there's a huge variety in nationalities, cultures, and backgrounds, and we celebrate a lot of events. So I celebrated my festival Diwali, and we also celebrated Midsummer by barbecuing outside during the summertime. Uh, in the slide, you can also see the summer view from my room of Stockholm. And my housing was really close to the nature. So it was like a 5 minutes walk to the woods and the Ulriksdal Lake, as you can see in the picture. And this is Stockholm, which I feel is really beautiful in summers and winters both. As you can see in the picture, Gamla is the oldest town with cobblestones and colorful buildings from 17th and 18th century. Also, Stockholm is located on 14 different islands, as you can see in one of the pictures, which I took during my archaeology tour in summer last year. Yes. So this is how you can connect with us. So working as a student ambassador, the ambassadors have assignments where they include answering questions from you as students and taking care of the campus visits. KTH has one ambassador to present each master's program at KTH. And if you want to find out what current KTH students think about their studies, you can follow our bloggers and ask students questions online at the KTH website. You can, for example, follow student bloggers from India, Nigeria, China, Brazil, and Spain. You can also find and follow KTH international students on Facebook and Instagram. On the Facebook channel, KTH posts information, deadline, and campus activities and events. And on Instagram, you can follow KTH students. And for Chinese students, you have KTH on WeChat and Weibo.
Thank you for sharing, Shrishti. So, regarding your arrival to KTH, the arrival days are planned on the 20th and 21st of August, between 12 p.m. till 10 p.m. Please watch the webinar on the 7th of June for updates. Perhaps you could tell us about your experience of the arrival days at KTH, Shrishti.
Yes, definitely. So I arrived here in Stockholm on my second arrival day. And when I reached Arlanda Airport in the morning, the THS student union members were already there to greet us. We got the free bus service from airport to KTH, and there we could store our luggage for the day at one of the tents. We were first welcomed with fika, which is like the short coffee break in the Swedish culture. And then I could get my KTH access card, my housing contract, and my keys at KTH Entree. I feel it was really nice and fun to be at KTH on the arrival day because the process was really smooth and easy. And I could also meet a lot of other students from other programs at the same time.
So, to summarize, the deadline for application is the 31st of May. The requirements are that you have received a letter of acceptance on the university admission page and that you have paid the tuition fee. Please Think twice before completing your application, as you can submit it only once. You can see all our housing options on our webpage and in the application form, which will be posted on our website the 1st of May. We recommend you to read the information at our website, specifically the information under Staying with Us, and keep track of the arrival days at KTH. We wish you a warm welcome to KTH, and we will now move on to your questions. We have tried to answer most of the questions you sent in throughout this presentation, and here follows a couple more questions and answers by Shrishti and me.
Yes, so the first question is, what services will be provided along with the place of accommodation? So the electricity, water, and heat is included, as well as internet in most of the locations. A food plan, cleaning services, and the bedding services are not included. And the second question is, what have other students identified as costs and benefits of living in student housing versus off-campus? So the benefits of renting through KTH during your first year has two main advantages. The first one is that you do not have to search on your own in the large housing market before arriving. And the second one is that the price for electricity, heat, water is and the same for each month and already included in the rent.
Thank you. And a few more of your pre-submitted questions were, and I'm quoting, I'm a KTH scholarship holder. I want to know about the charges of KTH hostel accommodation. Is there any relief in hostel charges for the KTH scholarship holders? And the answer is no, there are no discounted rents. Another question was, if I join KTH accommodation, what is the minimum contract period? If I find another place to live, can I terminate the contract? And the answer to that question is that the minimum contract period is 2 months. If you want to make changes to the contract, you need to give us 2 months notice. And please note, the maximum contract period is 1 year. And the last selected question was, I want to come over with my family, my wife and 2 children, so that I can totally concentrate on my schooling without getting homesick. Is it possible to get an accommodation that will be conducive for us? The answer is KTH Accommodation mainly have single rooms to offer, but we have a very limited number of housing for spouses and families. Please mention your request in the application, but do note that there is no guarantee that we can offer housing for both you and your family. Now there will be a link sent out in the chat, I believe, but it can also be found on New at KTH website and on KTH Accommodation's webpage. You are welcome to ask us further if you still have questions there.
Yes, and this is the final slide about the coming webinars. Please keep track of KTH's upcoming webinars, and thank you so much for participating today.
Thank you.